saying 10. I mean, even though we stand alone, we stand together.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for landing. Fasten your seatbelts. Thank you for flying Air Force Airlines. Oh, me. Call me the captain. Just blaze.
They say a family that prays together stays together, and one that walks apart just falls apart. So together we stand, divided we fall, united we form Voltron and take on ball. Let's move, yes. The birds left the nest. I'm all grown up, I gotta fly with the rest. Best of the best is what we strive to be.
You're watching Unpackaged Goods. I'm your host, Jonathan Dieter. Welcome back. So I'm back. We took a break last week. We were in LA. I got to visit my goddaughter, Maya, little Maya Papaya. Spent some time with my friends. It was really special, very wholesome trip. Got to see some brands. That was exciting. Meet with some people while I was in LA. It rained the entire time. So everyone was like, oh, it must have been so nice to get some warm weather. It rained the entire time. But it was still really nice, and I loved it. Thursday, it didn't rain. It was cloudy. We had a pretty sunset, so I went for a run on the beach in Venice. Shout out to Vax. He was the best host. Maybe he'll listen to my podcast if I tell him I shouted him out. But he was also my cameraman for my Venice Erewhon video. So very fun. Did not like Erewhon. Don't think I could do a lot of grocery shopping there. It's just a small aisles, small store. You just like don't feel like you can actually like look for stuff. So yeah. Anyways, we didn't have a podcast last week because we were in LA. No guests this week. Big week of news. So we're going to just dive into the news and we're going to talk about everything that's going on, everything that maybe you missed. And yeah. Next week, we'll have a guest. We have one lined up for Monday. I'm really excited about that. She's the sauce. Surprise. Alrighty. Let's dive in. $700 million for party punches in a box. Suja Life just filed for IPO, and seemingly every fund in CPG just raised news capital. Welcome to Unpackaged Goods, where we track who's buying, who's selling, and who's got fresh capital. It's a $100 million BeatBox bombshell. So let's dive in. Anheuser-Busch, they acquired BeatBox. For those of you who don't know, these are the RTD cocktails, Tetra Paks. So context, they were founded in 2011. They're doing $250 million in revenue. This fits in strategically. Anheuser-Busch, they already own Cutwater and Neutral. So these brands will slide in pretty nicely. So the multiple on revenue, 2.8, suggests, not bad for alcohol. The RTD cocktail, finally getting big alcohol's respect. So I think this has been these small little RTD cocktails popping up. Like, are they really being noticed by the big boys? And this is proof that they are. Oh, they have a high ABV, 11.1. So they really position themselves as like the party drink. So this is definitely a consolidation play. So I'm looking at who's next. Surfside, maybe Sprinter. So keep your eyes peeled for these RTD cocktail beverage companies getting scooped up here in the next year. I think that's going to be hot. We're screaming hot, hot, hot. To use a different tripod tonight. I don't know what's going on with the arm of my other one. It's stuck. I'm going to take it to B&H. Alrighty. So moving on to Suja Life's IPO filing. So this is a big one. This wasn't who I maybe expected. So Payne Schwartz, this is one of their portfolio companies. So they're testing the public market, see how this is going to do. So their portfolio consists of Suja Organic, Vive Organic, and newly rebooted Slice. They were acquired in 2021 at $200 million in revenue, and then they added Vive in 2022. So these are functional juice shots, basically like juice plus soda. So Payne Schwartz, they're on a roll right now. Lucky Energy, they've had a couple other wins. We'll talk about that later. So I would say the IPO window for CPG is cracking open. I think we're going to see some big ones here in the next couple of years. Liquid Death, Skims, Runes, who knows? The real question though, can public markets stomach another juice company? Fundraising bonanza. So you've probably seen online, there's been a lot of funds raising money. There's been a lot of funds investing money. CPG space is hot right now. We're going to dive in to why that is. So everyone's raising. Monogram Capital. This is their third fund, $350 million, 1.75 billion AUM. Prelude Growth, $600 million fund. This is their third banner year. Lair Hippo, a $200 million fund. This is their ninth. And a ton of others. Aria, $152 million. ACG, $160 million. Sugar, $75 million. And Taste Test Tomorrow with their $30 million fund. This is a new fund. So why now is the big question. Dry powder from 21 into 23 really depleted from investments. So you're seeing a lot of LPs who have seen exits like BeatBox, 8 Greens, PHLUR, and they're saying, I want a piece of that. And so fund sizes are growing. Prelude 3x from Fund 1. And new funds are entering. Look at Taste Test Tomorrow. Look at Paperboy. Yeah, I think the fund model is tough. Having to constantly raise capital. Like a little bit of portfolio context. So some wins. So Prelude, who we've been talking about, they had their PHLUR exit to TSG. 8 Greens was acquired. Monogram's portfolio consists of Olipop, really is their big baby. And Bachan's is hiring bankers, so maybe another potential IPO. We'll see. That would be another Prelude win. So they're stacking up the dubs. Alrighty, so infrastructure and innovation. So Built's manufacturing muscle just finished their second Utah facility, 132,000 square feet, plus 500 jobs. 2 facilities now in Utah, Provo plus American Fork. The vertical integration trend continues. This is popular. People are investing in infrastructures, and I think that that's smart. You need to control your supply chain, control how things are getting made. So Utah is becoming the protein bar capital of the world. I've heard of that. Some other protein bars, finding good co-packers out there. So as you can see with them, with Squares, with Chomps, some other brands we've talked about, they're investing in infrastructure. And I think that that's really important here. You want to be a brand that is able to sustain growth. I think being able to control your margins through controlling the infrastructure, it's important. So Oddity launched Methodic. So this is telehealth dermatology platform. So they target 50 million with acne. I used to be one of those 50 million. And 30 million with eczema. Bing, bing, bing. Both me. I have psoriasis, which is worse than eczema. And I grew up with really bad acne. So their stock performance, 647 million in revenue, 2.1 million market cap. Tech First Beauty is expanding to medical grade. When I was little and I had really bad acne, really the only thing that was out was that... God, what was the commercial? They were all over. It'll come to me. But like, there weren't a lot of options. Like, you went on Accutane, you went to a dermatologist. There weren't all these skincare routines. So, being able to make acne treatment a little bit more accessible and mainstream for people. I had it super early as like 4th grade. So that's something that kids deal with. And so I think being able to make that a little bit more mainstream, easily accessible, super important. It's not fun to be bullied as a kid because you have acne. So making that skincare available, awesome. Alrighty. So this week's other movers, I liked this one. Yeti and Helamix. So $38 million deal. They acquired a shaker. Crazy. You look at it, there's no like ball in it like a traditional shaker bottle. You see a lot of people just use those as water bottles. And so... And a lot of times you think about it, like I'm adding in some sort of hydration powder that needs to be shaken up, and it never does a good job in my water bottle. It never really fully clunks. So I think I'm going to order one and just check it out. I love Yeti products. Love their tumblers. Love their coolers, their backpacks. Everything they've touched is amazing. My dad has a ton of Yeti stuff. Whenever we go camping, biking, ton of Yeti stuff. So... long Yeti. Perelel, their 27 million growth fund. Prelude led this. Bureau is approaching 8 figures. This brand has exploded. They are the number 2 in the non-alcoholic beer category. No surprise here. Good branding. Tom Holland. They're delicious. Yeah, they're killing it. And Unilever, they are selling Marmite, Bovril, and Coleman's. Very interesting. The Australian cult favorite. Marmite. Maramite. I said Marmite, Maramite. So I think you're kind of seeing there a signal of the times, signs of the times. Old brand. Just, I think generally people like the taste, but just old brand needs to be reinvented. There you go. Someone wants to come out for a better for you Vegemite. Market for that. Listen to my podcast. You get free CPG ideas. Better for you Vegemite. It's cool. It's cool. That's what this is for. This podcast is to learn. A lot of information that I think that you can or cannot consume throughout the week. A lot of different newsletters and podcasts and videos that you can or aren't watching. And what I try to do in this podcast is really give you a lot and a little. And this podcast is supposed to be for everyone. So for people who just want a snapshot of what's going on in the CPG world, the consumer wellness, health, wellness worlds, like I think this is a pretty good overview, as is my newsletter, as is my review on Mondays. So it's fun to do the pod. I almost didn't do it tonight. I was tired. I wasn't feeling it. I haven't been feeling well this week, but it's really fun. And I had tripod issues. But we're back. This is why we have backups. That's why we have good technology. Alrighty. No interview this week. Monday we have a surprise. Not a surprise. She's a sauce. She's coming on. Can't wait. That'll come out. The deep dive. Some numbers that I saw this week. So the Bell Ring brands, they crushed Q4. So net sales up 16%, up to $648 million. Premier Protein up 15%. Dynamitize up 32%. So first year guidance 2026 $2.4 billion. Those are just some quick hitters. Performance analysis. So protein remains recession proof. You can see that the protein continues to be a big win. Protein this, protein that. I actually really like Better Blends that is coming out, which is a better for you protein powder that's gut friendly. Love that. Mass market is winning over specialty right now. Public CPG companies are finding growth, mostly through acquisitions. The non-alc gold rush continues. Aplos raised $5 million. They've been at our founders' basketball runs, which have been fun. Some recent activity. So Stoli to Pathfinder, Pernod to Almalve, LVMH to French Bloom. Every spirit giant needs a zero proof play. That's becoming a no-brainer. Alcohol markets are slowing down. Non-alcoholic beer is, I think I read a stat that it's the number 2 most consumed type of beer, like period, internationally. It's crazy. People don't want to feel like shit. Alcohol isn't good for you. It's not good for your skin. It's not good for your sleep. It's not good for your mood. It's not good for you. It's bad. Don't drink it. It's like a drug commercial. Don't drink and don't do drugs. Fuck it. Have fun. Just don't drink. That's not good for you. I'm going to live to 120 because I don't drink. I got to live to 120. Society's going to be fucking crazy then. Healthcare is going to be so advanced. These Texans uniforms are beautiful. Look like Christmas. Alrighty. So closing thoughts. This week showed us that CPG cycle is in full effect. BeatBox exit for $700 million after 13 years. That exit builds credibility for Monogram, helps them raise $350 million fund, and that fund will back the next BeatBox. The cycle continues. But notice what's different. The multiples, they're same. BeatBox at 2.8 times revenue. That seems pretty rational to me. Funds raising 100 to 300 million instead of $1 billion. Appropriate. Built, opening actual factories. Revolutionary. We're seeing discipline return to CPG. Suja filing for IPO means the public markets might be ready again. Bellring posting 16% growth shows you can win without unicorn status. Vignetti's $38 million shaker acquisition makes sense than most of the 2021 acquisitions. The adults are back in charge. Money is flowing, but metrics matter. Infrastructure beats Instagram, and somewhere in Utah, Built is hiring 500 people to make actual protein bars in actual factories. That's progress. Next week on Unpackaged Goods, we'll have a special Thanksgiving episode. We'll, I don't know, gobble, 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 gobble. We'll do something fun. So That's it. Subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you get your news. And make sure that you like, subscribe, and rate this podcast 5 stars if you haven't. So that's it for Unpackaged Goods. We'll see you next week.